everyone. How are you tonight? All right, give me just a few seconds to get started. Find myself on my computer. My computer's really far away right now. I'll move it closer. And say hello. Let me know who's out there. When I can see it, I will say hello back. All right. Let me see here. Okay. That's me. Okay. I see myself. I see there is at least one person out there, so say hi. And as more people join, we'll say hello to them too. And I'm going to just get started a little bit. So tonight we are making moules frites. First, let me just say a little bit about myself and what we're doing here, and I'll come back to that in a second. So I am Coco Huff for cocohuff.com, COCOHOUGH.com. I have a new website up. It has some of my design work. I've been doing kitchen design, kitchens and bathrooms in the New York and New Jersey area for 18 years. And now for the past almost 6 months, I've been sharing my true passion, in addition to design, but maybe a longer passion, a lifelong passion of cooking with you. So the goal of this live stream every week is to take recipes that we all know or have heard of and break them down and talk about the different techniques and the different ingredients and try to just make them manageable and also to make them delicious. And we also have sort of a third theme of using every bit of what's in our kitchen. So, with that said, let's see who's here. Hello, 3 awesome people so far. We have Kimba, Teresa, and Jane. Welcome, everybody. Hi. I always like to say who made last week. Teresa, you had made like 3 things. Kimba this week made the clam chowder from last week, and it looked really good. So that was awesome. And let me know what else you're cooking up, whether it's from this or not. So, okay, also, I always forget to mention, if you have any questions as we're going along, let me know. I'm happy to answer anything. It could be about a past recipe or one of these. So, tonight we're making moules frites. So, moules frites literally just means mussels and French fries. It's one of my absolute favorite things to order at like a bistro or a French restaurant. It's not actually French though, it is Belgian, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But we have our main ingredients here, which are the mussels themselves and the potatoes. So, we'll talk about each of those things too. But first, I just want to we're gonna start by getting our oil heated up for our fries. And then the second thing we'll do is make the base that we're going to steam the mussels in. So let me know what's going on as we go. I'm just using a neutral vegetable oil, if I can open it. This is just a vegetable oil. You could use a canola oil. Peanut oil is very popular for frying French fries. And you want about 1 inch depth. I have this kind of shallow, this is about 2 inches high, this pan. So the fries have a little bit of room, to go up and down, but it's not going to require, gallons of oil to do this. So that's just coming up to temperature. So I have this on like a medium to high, so it starts going. And then the basis of this dish is that these mussels get steamed and also tossed with just a very flavorful broth. So we want to start building that broth, and then the mussels themselves will go in sort of towards the end. They only need to go in for about 5 minutes. So we're going to go back and forth between these 2 things. French fries, get the oil ready. Mussels, we'll get the liquid ready, and then we'll start frying, and then we'll put those in towards the end. Sort of like we talked about last week, we don't want our seafood to be overcooked. That's kind of the worst thing you can do. So you want them, like, as soon as they're ready, we're ready to eat. Okay, so what goes into the liquid for the mussels is tonight a white wine, some kind of aromatic. So we're doing a leek. You could also do a shallot, that would be traditional as well. And then I like some kind of green, like vegetal flavor. So typically you would do celery. We're gonna do some fennel. I love that fennel flavor. But these are sort of like any combination of these things would be great. And then some garlic, some thyme, and that's it really. So the white wine is the basis of it. So we want to, and some butter, of course, which I have to grab. But we want to start cooking down the wine, cooking those flavors together before we throw the mussels in. So the sauce is really ready to go before they go in. So I need my butter, hang on. Okay. And we're going to throw some of that in our pot to saute our vegetables. Okay. So that's going in the big pot. I have 4 pounds of mussels. As you can see, it's a lot. So I have my big pot going over here. That is clean. It's just been used a lot. This cord wants to touch the pot. I already melted a cord tonight. So let's hope that doesn't happen again. I actually melted it across this burner. I was like, whoops. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to do a leek. I love leeks, and I just wanted that. I want everything sort of like greenish. It's not bright green like summer, but like a wintry green theme going here. So leeks can be very sandy, so we're going to start cutting it up, and then you have to wash them, so I'll show you how to do that. I think since we're cooking this, so the easiest way, so leeks are sort of, this is a huge one also, they're in rings inside, so they come apart into sections. The easiest way to deal with them is either cut them all the way in half if you're just making a braised leek and you don't want little pieces, or cut it in half and then slice this like half moons. It's just easier to wash them that way. And we're just using this light white part up to about here. And this I would save for stock. This gives a lot of flavor to stock. So I have bags of, the tough leek leaves in my freezer, which you also want to get the sand off of that too before you put it in your stock. Maybe I'll just do half. Let's see what happens here. Hi, Erin. Oh my goodness, Erin, my friend from Rhode Island is here tonight. It's good to see you. Welcome. I don't know how much you caught of the beginning. We are making moules frites. I know you're in a seafood area. I wonder if this is something you like as well. All right, so we're cutting our leek. Everything I'm going to do into very thin slices, and actually with the fennel too, I'm going to do it a little bit on a bias. So I went from cutting straight to cutting on an angle, as you can see here, to make the pieces a little thinner and longer, keeping my knuckles very close to the edge. And then, so you can see they got longer when I started doing it diagonally on a bias, as opposed to at the beginning. Same with, can I find one? They were more like this. Okay, that's hard to see. So we're doing it on a diagonal, just to be a little fancy, not critical to the recipe at all. And then as you go, you can see this next layer, there's all this sand here. But if you start taking off the outer layers, there's more light green inside. So just keep going. This is 2 weeks, all right, and that's about it. That's enough, I think, for one, so half a leek, half of a large leek in this case. Erin says, yum. Yeah, it is, it's yum. Okay, I need a bowl. I think that bowl is for my potatoes, but that's okay. And I'll show you what we do. So once you cut up your leek, you want to swish it around in some water. And the easiest way is in a bowl, and all the sand is going to drop to the bottom, the leeks float to the top, and then you kind of scoop them off with your hands or a slotted spoon, and we'll put them into that butter. So let's do that. Okay, so the main point here is we're not doing onion because onion's just a little strong for this recipe, but you could. I mean, you could get away with that. But we want something from the onion family and then something from like the celery, brighter green family. So in this case, you could do a shallot and celery, or we're going to do leek and fennel. Kind of already said that, but I didn't know if I confused the whole thing. All right, so these have come sort of, they're floating on this little bit of water. Any sand would go to the bottom, and I'll just pick them up like that, and I'm putting them in with the butter. Okay. My oil is crackling a little bit. I don't know if that, I just dripped some water into it maybe. Okay. Pour this back out. And, whoops, you can't see me. I'm going to fill this with some more water for our potatoes. So rinse any sand out. Okay, we'll get back to potatoes in a second. We just want to cut up our fennel, remove this. I'll deal with the rest of this, you know, sand and leeks later for something else. Like our board. Okay, I happen to love fennel. Fennel has a very slight licorice flavor, and it actually becomes less so when you cook it. So we're using, again, it's similar to the leek, we're using only this light whitish part, but I'm going to save all these little fronds for garnish. So whenever you have something with fennel in it, you want to save that so you can decorate later. So I just cut it straight in half, and now the way you would with a cabbage, we'll cut in a triangle shape to get the core out. We don't need a ton of vegetables, so maybe I'll do maybe even just a quarter. See, I just made a triangle, so this core part is out. I don't know where my compost bowl, it's over here. Compost over there. Oh, Floyd, hello, nice to see you. Floyd is complimenting this knife. I absolutely love this knife. This is from Food 52. We've talked about it, we've mentioned it a couple times. All right, I'm doing a thin slice on my fennel as well. And I think it's just called the Food 52 something something knife, and it comes in a number of colors. Oh, I forgot to do it on a bias. Let's do it a little thinner and on a diagonal. This color is called Sea Salt. And I don't have any affiliation with them, but I am trying to. I would love to have an affiliation with Food 52, and they have some awesome products. So that wasn't quite the perfect job I was hoping for, but that was a quarter of a fennel bulb. I think we'll do just a little more. You could use the mandolin. We do the mandolin on everything, so I thought I'd try doing some by hand, but the mandolin would be great for this job to get very thin slices. All right. So I have about as much as I had of leeks, and this will go in with our the leeks and give it a stir. So it already looks like something really nice. Oh, well, that was not good. I tried to get the cord away from the pot, and I yanked it. All right, hopefully you can still see. We have our butter. Butter, leeks, and fennel in there. Add a little salt, and then I'm going to throw some garlic in. Sorry about that. Whoa. Everyone just went woo, like for a wild ride. All right, the leek end will go in stock. That's the leek end. Clean all of this up. I don't think you can see my cutting board as well as usual. Yeah, that's okay. So, this is making sense so far. I feel like it's a lot of different parts. Okay, and some garlic, of course. So this is known, I think Americans think of this as a French dish, like I was saying. And it does originally come from Belgium. So I've been to Belgium twice. It's been about 25 years though. And I did indeed have moules frites like almost every meal while I was there, with a lot of beer. But I went once with some friends and once with my mom actually, which was really nice. We went to Brussels. There was a flower show, so there's all the open air restaurants on a big square, and it happened to be a flower show where the entire square was decorated in flowers, and it was beautiful. And we went to Bruges as well, which is gorgeous, and that's where they make the lace. It's just a beautiful country. But the mussels, so let's go back to like the 17th century. When fish was scarce in the winter, the mussels would be plentiful, but they would come from the Netherlands down the whole canal system. And that is how this became sort of a staple in homes 200, 300 years ago. All right, so I'm chopping. I just smashed my garlic cloves to get their skins off. And I'm just doing a fine chop. You don't want like a big mouthful of garlic. 3 might be too many. I might not use all of this. That's sort of my go-to amount because I love garlic, but I think we want to be more subtle here. So let's say 1 really big one, 1 or 2 when you're doing it. That was autopilot. This is actually a problem for me. When I cook for people who don't like garlic or don't eat garlic at all, I'm always like, oh, what do I do? I put so much garlic and everything. We figure it out though. You just leave it out or make things that don't require it. Okay, our greens are wilting. I'm going to throw a little more butter in there. It looks like it needs a drop more. Okay, stir that up. All right, so now I want to get my wine in there. I'm using a white wine. This is a Pouilly Fusé. And you really, any white wine that you enjoy would be fine. I don't particularly love Chardonnay and the oakiness of Chardonnay, so I didn't want those flavors in with my mussels. But the key to cooking with wine is, you want it to be something you would drink, but not the finest thing you would drink, not super expensive. So just a nice white wine. And we're going to do about half this bottle. Hello, Helene. Never too late. I'm glad to see you here. We are making moules frites. If I can get this bottle open. I went too far. This one doesn't have that second hinge where it bends. Come on. Oh, I have another one that kind of has a double jointed. It's a little easier. All right, that wasn't so bad. Oh, it's nice. Nice and fresh smells. All right, we're pouring this in about half the bottle. And we want to cook the alcohol flavor out like we always do. So, ooh, that's a little more than half the bottle. That's fine though. And I'm cranking this up to medium high so that it'll simmer for a few minutes before we put the mussels in. So we want that alcohol flavor. We've added alcohol a few times to things. You want the flavor, you don't want the alcohol fumes. So when you put your nose over it and go like this and there's still those strong fumes, you're not quite there yet. And if we put our mussels in at that point, it would never really cook off. So we're gonna let that simmer for a few seconds. Let me get this garlic off of here. Hold on. Kimba says, leeks, fennel, garlic butter. Yes, thank you. Kimba, can you recap for me every couple minutes? I feel like I was talking in circles there. Yeah, leeks, fennel, garlic, butter. And basically, I think the message is you can also improvise. That's fine. There are different variations of this. So in Belgium, instead of wine, you could use beer. They each have their own name. Some have tomatoes, some have this, but we're doing sort of the most classic one with white wine. Okay, so potatoes. Let's get a temperature on our oil. I wrote in the write-up about thermometers. So I do a lot of candy making. So I have this, and it's actually candy and frying thermometer. So this one clips onto the side of your pan, and it's just the easiest to read. Obviously, it's standing up. The bulb itself is not touching the bottom of the pan, which is important because obviously the metal itself is a lot hotter than the oil. So the oil is pretty shallow, but I'm gonna clip this on. And because my pan is so, I hope this is okay, let's see. My pan is a little short, so there we go. It's in. What am I saying? In a higher pan, it would stand up all the way straight. So when you're making candy, you want the sugar at certain temperatures. They will behave in different ways. The higher it goes, the firmer it will be. And in this case, we're going to fry our fries twice. So we want the oil, what is it at right now? It's about 275. I'm gonna turn this up a little. We want it at 325 for one frying. That's the longer frying amount of time. And then we want it at 350 for about 2 minutes. So let's talk about potatoes. I pre-cut some potatoes. These are just baking potatoes, and we're gonna cut some more. But you want to get them into fry shape, obviously, and then soak them in water. So if you can see in this water, it's a little bit cloudy. This will remove the starch from the potatoes, and you'll get a more even, crispier, you know, with the fluffy inside kind of fry that we want. So half an hour is the minimum soaking time. That's why I did this ahead of time. I try not to do too much ahead of time so that you can cook along, but we did this today. And then the other thing is you can do this the day before. So half an hour to overnight is really how long this can be in here. Ooh, that went right up. That went straight up when I turned it up. We're at 310. We'll give it another couple seconds. So anytime you're working with potatoes and you're cutting a few and you're not quite ready for whatever you're putting them into, you want to put them in water. Otherwise they turn black pretty quickly and it's not very appetizing. So, you know, unless they're going directly into heat, they go into water. And then the thing about frying is they have to be absolutely dry. So first of all, they would never brown, but secondly, with the hot oil, it's dangerous if they're wet. It will splatter everywhere. So I'm laying them on paper towels and I'm patting them dry. Colleen says, I need to find some fresh mussels in Kentucky. Do you have, have I been to Kentucky? I don't think so. Do you have fresh seafood? And is it like something that's harder to find? I don't know. I hope you do find some because I'm sure you know it's so good. Okay, we're at 325. So I'm gonna drop in a handful. Wish me luck. Let's see how this goes. And this is our first frying. I'm gonna do it with my slotted spoon actually, for safety. Oh yeah, that's good. It's making that sizzling sound. Our wine is boiling away. Good, we don't want to overcrowd it. We just want about that many. So that's about half of what I have here. And what I cut up so far was 2 large potatoes. Let me dry the rest of them. Oh, it's gonna be 3 batches, 3 batches. We'll see how far we get in this amount of time. I didn't want you to have to wait, you know, half an hour while these soak and then another 10 minutes for each batch. We'll see what happens. Colleen says, come visit. I would love to come visit. Kimba, when are you going to visit? I'll come with you. Someday, we'll see. We'll, I would like to take this on the road and have people here and go to other places. It would be interesting. All right, our next batch is patted dry. Here's some more potatoes. I'm going to cut up a few just to show you what I did. And don't let me forget, Kimba, you're in charge. Don't let me forget to look at these. Give them a gentle scrape if they're sticking. So I have a deep fryer. I also mentioned that in, this thermometer is making me nervous because it's leaning. It's gonna be okay. And we want 5 minutes. It's probably been about 1 minute. So at 7:30, we'll look at those. So I do have a deep fryer. It just requires so much more oil. So this is a big russet potato that I'm peeling. It requires so much oil that it's not always worth it. Sometimes just a little shallow frying, about 1.5 inches of oil is fine, unless you're doing a big job. But it is fun to, you know, do like you're doing fast food and fry up a bunch of stuff. It's great for a party. I think you could do even the first frying ahead of time and lay them out on a baking sheet on a rack like we're going to do, and come back and do the second fry when your guests are watching. That would be an easy way. All right, so last week, every week, and this is true, I think, no matter how long you're cooking, you might look back and say, like, well, why did I do this and not that? So last week I had my potato turned up on its end, and then later I was like, it would be much safer to have it, it's not on its big end, but on its side at least down. All right, and I'm going to cut it in half. We want about 1/3 of an inch, so I'll cut it sort of into thirds. I'm not going to get much out of this top piece. So I'm reserving some pieces in water over to the side that I'm not really using, because I want to sort of square this up a little bit. Not perfect, we're not really going for perfect, but some of these are acceptable, like that one. But we want French fry shape, not too much roundness. And then, so I have this sort of like, I made it rectangular a little bit, and then 1/3 of an inch this way. This one's a little rounded. And then we have fries. If you see one that you think is just too big or too rounded, just trim them up a little bit. And then straight into water, like we said. This one could use a little trim. All right, I like them to look something like French fries, and now I have a bowl of water over here. So let's check on the ones we're frying. They're not brown. They're just going to be lightly golden in this first fry. Ooh, that's what I didn't want to happen. Okay, I'm going to hold this in here and just check periodically. It would be safer to use this in a taller. So let's look at my other thermometer. Don't tell anyone that just happened. All right, this kind of fell out of the pan. So this is the other thermometer that I mentioned in the write-up. It's just an instant read probe. So I'm sticking this in here. So it's a constant adjustment. We're at about 250 right now. So anytime you're frying, you'll bring the oil up. Whatever you put in the oil will bring the temperature back down, and then you want to bring it back up. So you're constantly adjusting to try to keep it pretty consistent. So this is a little bit low right now, which is fine. It's just the lower the temperature is, the more oil your food is going to absorb. So if you're making donuts or something like that, you want it at the right temperature. You want it hot enough so that you don't get a greasy, soggy mess. Does that make sense? Now we're talking about donuts. All right, so thirds again. Take that part to the side. Kind of even out your shape. I'm making a quiche this week, so I'm going to just take all these pieces, lightly cook them ahead of time so they don't turn brown, and put them in my quiche. I'll probably dice them up. All right, and we have fries again. So that was one potato. We'll do two. All right, let's do we need to do two? No. So here they are in the water. So I'd say you'll do one more. So if you're making mussels, 4 pounds of mussels for 4 people, you'll probably do 4 potatoes. I usually think like 3/4 of a potato to 1 potato per person is the right amount. And you can never have too many French fries. So if we have time, we'll do all of those. Otherwise, we'll just fry up the ones that were already soaking. And hi, Stacy. Stacy says, sorry I'm late. We were already saying it's never too late. So we're in the middle of making moules frites. Let me show you, or anyone else who is just joining us, what's going on. Our fries are in their first cooking phase. So they're starting to get a tiny bit golden, just a very gentle golden on the corners there, and they smell delicious. And then we have our leeks, fennel, and white wine, and some garlic. Sauteing over here. I still smell like the alcohol fumes in the white wine, but it's starting to become less. So let's talk about our mussels now. Okay, 4 pounds of mussels. These have been washed and debearded, and I put some to the side just to finish doing that with you so you can see what exactly I did. But these are absolutely gorgeous. Every single one was closed except for one, which I'll show you. So the same as clams, like we talked about last week. You want them to be firmly closed. We want to clean them off. These don't get sandy like clams do, but they do have a little beard that I'll show you. And if they're not closed, you should be able to tap on them and have them seal right back up again. And then after we cook them, we want them all to be open. So it was actually the same thing we talked about last week. So these few, most of them didn't even have the beard, so I had to save a few to show you. This one was open, you can see that. And I tapped on it, it did not close, and then I realized it doesn't even really have anything inside. So of course we're not going to use that one. And then there was one that was a little smashed. So sometimes you'll get them and a bunch are like this and you don't, that's disappointing. This one just has like a piece of its shell. How much can you see that? I don't know. That's open and broken here. So we throw that away as well. So where's our open one? Here. Okay, so those two we will not use. These are perfectly great. And I just want to show you this beard. It's called the beard. That one came off very easily. So this is how they attach to their rock home. And it's this piece of fiber that sticks out. How can I help you see this? On this inside edge. So when you're watching them, you'll just feel along the inside edge. That one has a big one. How, I don't know if you can see it, let me know. So this one has a big kind of filament piece here. So I'm just wiggling it so I can show you where it is. And you just yank down to get it off. And that's it. So it doesn't require that much fussing. Just wash them, check each one, and pull this off. And these are awesome. These are from Stu Leonard's, which again is not an advertisement, but it's someplace I've just started going and I really enjoy it. Alright, our fries are looking good. They are looking so good. And I think our liquid is in good shape. So let's take a look. You don't want to boil it dry. I may need to add a little drop of water here. It smells great. It has a nice wine smell, but not too much. I'm going to pour just a splash more in there. Blasphemy. Okay. Look at those. Those look so good. Okay, so the mussels are going in now. I'm going to put them into our boiling liquid, cover them, and they should steam in about 5 minutes. And when you open it up, if they're not all beautifully open and ready, just close it back up and do a few more minutes. So last week we put a steamer insert in and then put all the clams on top. This week we really want all those flavors to mix in with our mussels. So we're going to stir it and we're going to stir it again at the end. And let's see what happens. Okay, so these are going in here. The camera's shaking again. I'm going to stir them up. I'm turning my heat up. Get them covered with our aromatics and our wine. Oh my gosh, look how good that looks already. Alright, so I really want to toss that so everything's together and then cover them up. Wet, so don't mind that. Okay, so that's cranked up, the lid is on, and we need about 5 minutes. So let's take our fries out. What did I do? These are a few more. All right, throw those in. Clean up for a second. These are the potato bits. Those are going into water. This potato we're not dealing with right now. Okay, so the fries have to rest between their first and second frying. So we're going to, let's see here, this is wet. We're going to dry that and then take them out of here. Timing wise, I didn't plan this. I thought the mussels would still be going on because we are just, I'm going to cut up one more potato while the second batch just fries for a few minutes, and then we'll put this batch in for its second fry. All right, so one more batch in. That one's too big. We'll cut that up more. Okay, so these are just resting, and then we're going to give them a second fry. It just helps them to be extra crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside. All right, so that's going to the side. My daughter, we were at a fast food place once, and someone was being, I forget, it was a burger place, but not like really fast food, one of those sort of counter service, but higher end. I don't remember what it was called. Someone was being kind of rude to the counter staff, and my kids were getting so indignant, and I was like, it's hard because what do you say to someone like that? It's, you don't want to get involved. And they said, well, what could you do? And they were brainstorming about what could you do to if someone was being so rude, and they said, if I worked there, I would just slightly undercook their fries. And I thought that was so brilliant because it's like an undetectable, it's a little passive aggressive, but it's undetectable punishment. You really can't get in trouble for that. So Jane's asking, why do you cook the fries twice? It's funny, I've just always done it. I don't know if I researched it that much, but my understanding is it will give you, now because they're cooling off again, it's going to give you a crispier outside and a fluffier inside than if you just did it one time with one blast of heat and let them keep going and going. Jane and everyone else, I will get back to you about some chemistry reasons and all that kind of stuff about why we do that. There's a couple things I can think of that, we've talked before about when do you start potatoes in cold water, when do you start them in hot water. So they're cooking from the outside in, they're going into hot oil, which reminds me I should take the temperature of my oil. And then they're cooling off, and I would say that the heat is continuing to go to the inside, which happens with meat and stuff too, when it's resting. And then we're going to blast the outside again. So that's kind of how I picture the process going, and that makes the outside crispy. Does that answer it? Not really, but I will look that up. And then Lou, hi, how are you? Are you using canola oil? Yes, I am. I am using canola oil. The fries just made this go back down. It's about 260. It's fine. It's on pretty high heat. It'll come back up. This is canola oil. Any sort of just plain oil. A friend came over and was kind of like, I can't believe you use that plain oil. I was like, well, it does have its place. Not everything should be olive oil or flavorful oil. You need that kind of generic thing. But I also did buy peanut oil. I haven't bought peanut oil before. My daughter is allergic to peanuts, but typically if you're allergic to peanuts, make sure you know for yourself whether this is okay, but she can have peanut oil because most oils are so processed that the protein, any peanut protein on. So like when we go to Disney World, they always say, oh, you can't have the fries, but she actually can have the fries because it's just the peanut oil. Right, so that's a long way of explaining, yes, it's just canola oil. So you want a high smoke point and, just a flavorless oil. Oh, Kimba, I did see that. Kimba said she looked online and someone said they freeze the fries between frying. All right, we're up to 275 again. They're starting to brown a little bit. I've seen that as well. That's kind of brilliant actually, because first of all, you could do this first fry, and we already said you could let it rest, but you could freeze them, just pull them out whenever you want them. So here's a good idea, I think, like make a huge batch of them while you're doing this, and you have the oil already going, and you're gonna pour it out in the end anyway. Put them on a tray, freeze them on a tray so they're not all clumped together, and then once they're frozen, put them all into a bag and they'll come out individually. And you can have fries anytime with just a little bit of oil. So Kimba, thank you. Now you're my fact checker and you're keeping my recipe straight. That sounds really good, right? Okay, these are looking great. Should I peek? Let me peek at the mussels. Oh, they're starting to open. We're already almost there. I'm gonna give them a stir to get all this goodness into the open ones, and I'll give them another second. They're not all open yet. Okay, I better hurry. Alright, I'm taking these fries out, putting the other ones back in because they only need a minute. And then I think we are in business. It all kind of came together quickly at the last second. Jane, I have a question for you. Do you fry, I know you do a lot of chips, do you fry them twice? I was thinking we should do fish and chips at some point as well, since we have all my British friends on here. All right, batch one is going back in. Yeah, Jane is in favor of that idea. Oh, did the oil come up to temperature? I don't know. I heard, I rushed through it. All right, batch one going in. Let's take the temperature. It's on the highest heat, so we're doing all we can. Yeah, it's like 300, so I'm blasting it with heat to bring it back up. These might not, this is like, you know, pancakes and waffles and stuff like that. The first batch is never going to be your best batch, but you're getting the idea. And then as you go, you'll see that the second batch, the third batch, they become golden brown and perfect. But these are going to be pretty darn good. So Jane says, no, I never have, but oh, good. Okay, so now we know how, and we'll work on that. Yeah, I think fish and chips at some point is in order. So when these come out of the oil, they're going to go onto paper towels, just to drain the fat off of them in about 2 minutes. And then in the meantime, I'm going to take out the mussels. Mussels smell delicious. These look delicious. Okay, everything is coming up roses. Let's have our paper towels right here on a plate. That plate has water all over it. Okay, so I have this little tray of things here. I'm going to put mussels into this bowl. We have a bowl on the side for shells, so as you're eating, you can put the shells to the side. I have this little cup for potatoes, and we have some mayonnaise. Traditionally, you would dip your fries in mayonnaise with this dish, not into ketchup. So, of course, if you don't like mayonnaise, that's okay. Let's see. You don't have to do it. Oh my gosh, those look amazing. All right. So I've turned the heat off. Let me give one more stir. because I really want all the wine and everything to get into each one. Into the bowl. Look how beautiful that looks. I need a little more broth, so let me get a ladle. Go back over here. Every plate should have some broth in it so you can soak it up with your fries and some baguettes. You want some broth in the bottom there. Okay. That looks absolutely delicious. Clear this all out of here so you can see. Okay, and then let's take a look at our fries. Those are looking crispy and golden. All right, so what we said was the key, first of all, soaking them to get the starch off, to get a crispier fry, and then drying them very well before you put them into hot oil. And then the double fry. So these are looking like that. Look how great they look. I'm going to pat the top with a paper towel as well, and then salt them. I like a nice amount of salt on my fries. Toss them around with the salt. And then I have this little cup. So I'm going to stand them up in that cup. Oh, I can feel the salt on them. That's how I like it. Very salty. Okay, so we did it. It was a lot of back and forth today. I hope it was all sort of linear enough to make sense, but really nothing difficult went on. We cut a potato, we heated up our oil, we made a wine broth with some aromatics, threw the mussels in there, and then fried the potatoes. So let's try it. Can't wait to try it, actually. All right, so the way to eat the mussels is, first of all, you take the first one, eat it with your fingers. Oh my God, they're so good. They're so good. They have so much flavor. I can taste the wine and the garlic. Oh, this one flopped open. So be gentle with that first shell, because then you're going to use it like a little pincher to eat the rest. So that becomes your, oh my gosh. I highly recommend this. This is delicious and it's fun to eat and just so good. So these are pretty small inside. Let me show you. You just kind of never know. So it's really nice when you get giant plump ones inside. These are about an inch and they're very flavorful though. So those are great. Oh, I forgot my baguette. So it's nice to just have a French baguette as well to kind of sop up that broth. So let's try that. Jane says it looks delicious. Stacy says fabulous. Teresa, thank you. Kimba, thank you. I have to scroll up to see if anyone else. Nope. Thank you all. It's good. Oh my gosh, the broth on the bread is also really good. Okay. And of course, we have to try a fry. So these are, they're good. They're crispy, they're salty, they're fluffy on the inside. They're good with mayonnaise. So I don't know how much you can see. Let's just break one open. They are golden. And then on the inside you want this like mashed potato texture. So I think we have achieved that. And they are not undercooked, so we're not punishing anyone. Like we talked about, I told you that evil story. I can't believe I told you that actually. It's so funny though. This is like a foodie's way of torturing people, just undercook their fries. These are delicious. And it was so easy to make. You saw how easy it was. Sue was writing under Lou's account, so she said, this is Sue, not Lou. Did you order them? Looks delicious. Did you order them ahead of time? The fries, yes, I ordered them from takeout. I think that's what you mean, right? That would be funny. They do look so good, right? I just want to show you one more time how pretty they are. So I recommend, you know, either just like this or in some sort of cone of newspaper or parchment paper into some, just to get them to stand up and look a little fancy. I like that as well. So, okay, I think I'm feeling particularly chatty tonight. I could go on, but I hope you will make this. It is truly delicious. It only took us less than an hour, and I was talking most of the time while, you know, doing other things. The fries, you would just keep going until you have as many as you want. So 4 potatoes for 4 people. That's what we're gonna end up with tonight. I'll keep going. And like Kimba said, we could freeze those and have fries all the time. That will be great. So again, thank you for being here. Sue says the mussels. Okay, that is clarification. Thank you. The mussels, I got them yesterday. That's a good question, actually. So they can sit in the refrigerator for a day. They don't need to soak in water. They were just kind of chilled, and then I washed them under cold water, pulled the beards off, and kept them chilled, and they've been out. They were out about an hour before I started. So that's a great question. Actually, I meant to mention, like a lot of things we've done, if it's freezing cold, when you put it in that wine sauce, it's going to take a lot longer for them to open up, and then they could end up a little bit tougher. So you don't want them warm, but you might want them you know, not straight out of the fridge as well. So thank you for clarifying. I thought if you were joking and about whether I took the fries from takeout. So thank you all so much. If you're watching this later on YouTube, or if you have not already and you're watching today, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Coco Huff on YouTube. And I am just so happy to cook with you all. So I look forward to doing it again next week, and let me know what you make in the meantime, and thank you all so much. Have a great night.